Okay, get this. North Korean hackers, LinkedIn, and a fake coding challenge. It sounds like a movie plot, right? But it's not. We're seeing more and more crypto heists popping up, but this one, well, this one's different. And we're breaking it all down today using the cybersecurity report we have. It basically lays out how these hackers are using, get this, social engineering to target people, especially in the crypto world. And we're not just talking like spam emails here. We're talking about seriously believable profiles, even using the name of a real decentralized exchange, -to, not a FI.
It really is fascinating how they're able to leverage trust in these situations. I mean, we've talked before about phishing emails and all that, but
Yeah.
this is like next level stuff. People go on LinkedIn, they expect, professional connections, opportunities, all that. They're not expecting this kind of attack. It makes it much easier to exploit that trust.
Yeah, it's like they're setting up this digital spider web, right? And we're the flies who might just wander in completely unaware.
Yeah.
So walk us through this. How are they actually reeling people in? I mean, this report talks about how it starts with these job offers. They look totally legit. And coding challenges, who doesn't love a good coding challenge, right? Well, one of the victims in this report, they downloaded this file, seemed harmless enough. Looked like a typical Visual Studio project file, something I imagine a lot of developers wouldn't think twice about. But here's the really scary part. Even VirusTotal, which is designed to detect malware, it didn't even flag it.
That's the thing with this two-stage malware delivery approach. They're using two separate components, Visual Studio Helper and then V.
Yeah.
And it's really clever, actually. Think of it like a lockpick set.
Yeah.
On their own, maybe they're not a huge threat, but together they could basically unlock your entire system.
So they're using these tools, these sneaky tools, to basically bypass all the usual security measures. But why two? Why go through the effort of creating two when one might do the trick?
Well, it's all about redundancy and deception. Let's say one part of it gets flagged or, just fails. The other one might still be able to slip through. Plus, the way both Visual Studio Helper and Shenzhen are designed is to embed themselves really deeply into the system. That makes them really difficult to detect and even harder to remove. So yeah, it's about persistence, making sure they have a way in, even if the user gets suspicious later on.
Okay, so at this point, they've gotten past the security and they've got access. Now what? What's the end goal here? What could they possibly want with your average developer's computer?
Well, in this case, it seems like they deployed malware called RustDoor. And what's interesting about this particular malware is it was written in Objective-C.
Okay, and why is that significant?
Well, because that language, it's mainly used for macOS apps, which suggests that they were specifically targeting Apple users.
Hold on, wait. Apple products are supposed to be, more secure. I bet there are a lot of listeners out there thinking, well, that's not going to happen to me. I've got a Mac.
Oh yeah, that's a common misconception. People think Apple products are immune to malware. Sadly, that's just not true. This attack just proves that these hackers are more than willing to exploit any vulnerability they can find. It doesn't matter the operating system.
So no one is really safe then. And on top of that, this malware, it's not just about stealing your data, it's about taking over your entire system.
It's kind of like, picture this. You're working away in your computer and all of a sudden, boom, this prompt pops up. Looks exactly like it's from Visual Studio, asking for your system password.
Yeah.
Seems harmless enough, right?
Yeah.
So you enter it without even thinking twice. But, and here's the kicker, it's not actually Visual Studio asking for your password. It's the RustDoor malware,
Yeah.
just disguised.
So they're relying on us to just, I don't know, blindly trust those familiar prompts and routines, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. And once they've got that password, that's it. Game over. They can get into anything sensitive information, install even more malware. They can even use your computer to go after other people, launch more attacks.
And to make matters even worse, you were talking about those back doors earlier, how these things really embed themselves. So even if you realize what's happening and delete the file, it might already be too late.
Yeah, you might think you've gotten rid of it, but they could still be in your system operating in the background.
Man, it's like they're digital ghosts or something. Once they're in, you can't get rid of them.
That's actually that's a pretty good analogy. And I think this whole situation just really drives home the point that these cybersecurity threats, they're constantly evolving.
Yeah, for sure. And something that really stood out to me in this report was, the choice of target. Crypto companies and specifically developers.
Right, right.
So it wasn't just about stealing credit card numbers or someone's identity. This was something else entirely. What exactly were they after?
Well, think about it. The crypto world, it's all about digital wallets, private keys, having access to, potentially enormous amounts of cryptocurrency. By going after the people who work in that world, They're going after the really valuable stuff.
So instead of robbing a bank, they're robbing like the digital equivalent of Fort Knox. But instead of gold bars, they're after code and encrypted keys.
Exactly.
And it sounds like they're getting a lot better at it too.
Oh, absolutely. They're getting much more sophisticated.
So this report focuses on crypto, obviously, but this feels like a wake-up call for, well, pretty much everyone. What's stopping them from just taking these tactics and using them against other industries?
Exactly. And it's not just industries, it's individuals too. Anyone with valuable data could be a target.
So like finance, healthcare, even government agencies.
Exactly. No one is immune.
So what can we do? I don't know about you, but I'm feeling, well, a little uneasy after all that.
It's definitely unsettling stuff. But the important thing is to be aware, right? Knowledge is power, as they say. It's like you wouldn't just, open your front door to anyone without checking who it is.
That's a good point, yeah. So how do we apply that same kind of thinking to the digital world? What can we do to protect ourselves?
Well, first and foremost, be cautious. Be really cautious of any unsolicited messages, even if they look like they're from a company you recognize or, a person you might even know.
So don't just assume that everything is what it seems.
Exactly. Do your research. Check out their profile, their website. Look for inconsistencies, anything that seems off. And if something feels wrong, trust that instinct. Don't be afraid to, hit the brakes and ask some questions.
That goes for those job offers and coding challenges too, right? Even if it sounds like an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely. Remember,
Mhm.
legitimate companies will have processes in place. If something feels rushed or strange, maybe double check with your IT department. They can walk you through everything, make sure it's legit.
Right, so your IT department is basically your cybersecurity buddy.
Exactly. And it's not just about protecting yourself, it's about protecting your workplace, your colleagues, your clients.
Well, this has been a wild ride. Thank you so much for walking us through all of that, all the ins and outs of this attack. I certainly learned a lot.
My pleasure. Glad I could shed some light on it.
And for everyone listening, remember to stay curious, stay vigilant, and until next time, stay safe out there in that digital world.